Tuition Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Functioning ecosystem. Autotrophs. They are organisms which produce their own food, whereas heterotrophs are organisms which need ready-made food or ready-made organic food materials for their energy requirement. Green plants carry out photosynthesis and produce carbohydrates. This is used by plants for their energy production. Other living things, especially herbivores, depend on plants for food. These are in turn fed upon by other animals. When living things die, the energy in them is converted to other forms. Energy is thus transferred and converted from one form to another in the system. Each organism is an important link in the system and cannot be replaced by another at all times. Autotrophs are of two types, the photosynthetic autotrophs and the chemosynthetic autotrophs. The photosynthetic autotrophs synthesize organic food from simple inorganic substances using sunlight as a source of energy, example green plants. But chemosynthetic autotrophs, they utilize simple inorganic reactions as a source of energy to produce organic materials, example iron bacteria and thiobacillus. The producers are the same as autotrophs. We have two types of producers, aquatic producers and terrestrial producers. The aquatic producers are phytoplanktons and algae which trap energy to produce food substances, whereas terrestrial producers are green plants. They occupy the first trophic level. For heterotrophs, these organisms need ready-made organic food materials for their energy requirements. Their consumers are same as heterotrophs. Examples are holozoic, saprophytes and parasites. Example, man, cattle and dog. Consumers are of three kinds. We have the primary consumers, secondary consumers and the tertiary consumers. 1. The primary consumers, which could be called the herbivores. Examples of this is that they feed directly on plants. For the secondary consumers, which are the carnivores, they are in the third trophic level. They feed on flesh. For the tertiary consumers, these include those that feed on carnivores. Example is man. They are ranked 4th in the trophic level. Decomposers, however, feed on dead remains of organisms. This they recycle by making it available for plants to make use of. Examples are putrefying bacteria and fungi. Food chains, food webs and trophic levels. A food chain. A feeding relationship involving organisms feeding or being eaten by others. This is basically a form of energy flow. Energy trapped by green plants are transferred through this process. Simple food chains are as follows. Example, you have the grasses, the grasshoppers taking the grasses, the snakes taking the grasshoppers, and kites taking the snakes. For the phytoplanktons, we have the tilapia takes in the phytoplanktons, and the water snake takes in the tilapia. For deadwood, the termite takes in the deadwood, the chicken takes in the termite, and the kite takes in the chicken. The food web. This is a more complex form of feeding relationship. The food chain is interconnected in a more complicated form as shown. 1. We have non-cycle, we have nutrient movement, we have energy flow, we have pyramid of energy, we have pyramid of numbers, and we have pyramid of biomass. Nutrient movement. Chemical energy is distributed among producers, consumers and decomposers in form of cellulose, starch, oils and fats, proteins and other carbohydrates. Pyramid of energy. It represents the rate of energy flow at successive trophic levels. There is a progressive decrease of energy at higher trophic levels. Pyramid of numbers. It is a representation of numbers of individuals in the food chain. Each trophic level shows a drop in number. Pyramid of biomass. It is a representation of mass of individuals at each trophic level. Energy flow. Pyramid is a diagrammatic representation of food chain in which producers form the base and the carnivores form the apex. Due to this, there are principles governing trophic levels and pyramids. 1. Food chain is started with photosynthesis and ended with decay. 2. Shorter food chains are made more efficient than larger food chains in terms of waste of energy. 3. Larger populations are characterized with more steps in food chain.